So there it is, double DA, the first completed Girandola. There's a 36-inch wheel on top with a 12-inch wheel on the bottom. To my knowledge, this has never been done. I've seen a lot of videos with different sized Girandolas, all the way from a few inches up to 24 and 36. There's even one they did in Thailand that was literally 21 feet across. But nobody has ever done a double connected like this. After I attempted it, I figured out why. It's extremely difficult for several reasons, which is what motivated me to do it. The first problem was spinning two wheels against each other required an axle. And when you put an axle down between two wheels and then spin them in the opposite direction, all of that force goes up through the axle and creates lots of vibration, destabilization. The second problem is when you spin a gyro, you spin a wheel, it creates a gyro effect which balances itself. By itself, that works great. It's very easy to get a wheel off the ground. You get it spinning, you put some vertical lift on it, and it goes up. Very easy. The problem is if you put another wheel against it, you spin two wheels in the opposite direction, they of course counter the effects. And so if I had a 36 and a 36, and I did this, spun the 36 on the bottom and the 36 on the top, it would be totally destabilized and there would be no balancing effect whatsoever. With that in mind, I decided to go with a 36 and a 12. In theory, the forces of a 36-inch wheel should be 3 times as powerful or strong as the forces of a 12-inch wheel. It's only common sense. I'm not a physicist. I don't know the math. But in my simple mind, I think it'll work. So, once I got that figured out, I had to figure out how to stabilize the wheels. Hence this frame. I noticed when I spun the wheels, they got very destabilized and it shook, and it shook a lot. And I noticed that if I put my finger on the top of the axle when it was shaking, it would stop spinning. So I figured if I could do that with some sort of mechanism, I could stabilize it. So I came up with this frame idea. It's a 4-point frame. It attaches in the center to this axle. It goes down and then attaches at the bottom. And it is absolutely amazing the amount of stabilization that I got from this frame. As soon as I spin the wheels, it just stabilizes right out. Without this frame, they would be wobbling all over the place. The axle would be bent and it just would not work. It just would not work. So, sitting on the ground, spinning it, everything seems to work fine. It's built, it's put together. At this point, what we have is a 36-inch wheel at the top with 4 horizontal drivers. The horizontal drivers are to get the wheel spinning. The first set of drivers will spin the wheel for 6 seconds, at which point they will ignite the second set of horizontal drivers. At the same time, the horizontal drivers light the second set of horizontal drivers. So will the ignition ring. It will light all of the vertical drivers simultaneously. This fuse burns quicker than you can blink your eye. This is quick match encased in foil tape in a foil tube, and they're networked together. They will all light nearly instantly, at which point it will lift up off the ground. We also have the same thing going down on the bottom. We have 4 horizontal drivers and 8 verticals. The horizontals spin for 6 seconds, then ignite the ignition ring and the second set of horizontals, all of the verticals at the same time as the first ring, and it will lift up off the base. It will leave the base, this stand, the concrete, this whole stand behind, and the entire frame and both wheels will go up. together. I have 48 vertical drivers on the 36-inch wheel. These are gerbs. They're silver gerbs. They're just here to shoot out the bottom and create a really nice effect as it's lifting up off the ground. These are what will create the spiraling effect as the wheel turns. You will see these long trail of sparks spiral down. And because of the second wheel spin in the opposite direction, you'll have this corkscrew within a corkscrew. It should just be spectacular if it really works. As I said, I have 48 vertical drivers on the top, and I have 8 vertical drivers on the bottom wheel for a total of 56. I get 1 pound of thrust per driver, so I have a total thrust of 56 pounds. My entire structure, including the 6-inch shell, once mounted, will weigh approximately 25 pounds. Our ratio is 2-to-1 thrust to weight. So we're about 4 or 5, possibly even 6 pounds over on our thrust requirements for the weight that I'll have. The reason for the overage is if we lose a driver, that's a pound we've lost of thrust. When you're over by 4 to 5 pounds, you got a lot of room there to blow a driver. I never blew any drivers in my test, but redundancy is always good to have. And a few extra pounds is nice too, because at an even 2-to-1 ratio, we get a nice slow ascent, which gives us about 3 feet per second. This thing will burn for about 9 to 12 seconds. We're hoping to get 300 feet in those 9 to 12 seconds. At which point, 300 feet, the center shell will lift and burst. And the whole thing will come down, crashing to the ground. And so this is it. I call this double DA, double Girandola, double D for short, A because it's the first one. Maiden voyage on this one will probably be 4th of July down in Missouri. The results of that will determine how I build the second one, which I will be taking to the BGI tournament in August. That one is pretty much ready to go. The wheels are built. I've already pressed out all the drivers. I just need room to assemble it, which is where we're at now. I broke my hand building the crates for this one, cutting the wood. So I'm kind of stuck in limbo for the next 3 to 4 weeks.